seriously, where am I? Jokes aside, I assume the stream has already started. And, usual routine, you know. If you're watching on the replay, please consider hitting like and subscribe. And subscribing if you're not already subscribing. And interestingly, that's an interesting glitch. Never mind, we're good. So, you know, usual routine, we get the chat on screen and I click on a button and yada yada yada. This will be a relatively quick one. Basically, if nobody tunes in, all the better. Nah, I shouldn't be saying that. I do appreciate viewership. But, you know, I'm going to see, you know, until I run out of steam or until I got nothing interesting to share. So today, our friend Floral from Under a Rock was on with Legal Mindset. That was a good time. We've had Brandon, the anime guy, on, and this is a guy with 103k subscribers, so I'm really glad to see Brandon there and to have gotten a bright standing ovation, well, a warm greeting from Brandon. That was very kind of him, because he could have just been all like this, like, you know, too good, right? He could have just been like, I'm too good for you. But no, he greeted me warmly, so that was nice. And it was funny because even though Wilton is the one that's usually more risque than Floral, the green guy, who's not presently green on my shirt, green guy. Wilton, even though he's more risque, even he was like nodding his head, negging his head. He was negging away whenever they use profanity, because when any of Floral's puppets appear on like a show, you know, on like one of the you know, Snow Dub shows, for example, they usually do like the first half hour PG-13 in order to accommodate him. So I thought that was kind of cool. But we're going to jump topics here. So where do I want to go today? Well, I had something in mind, but I stumbled into one of these iceberg videos. See? The full 9/11 iceberg video. And basically iceberg videos are like, they cover a plethora of topics. Like they'll go and talk about, in fact, one I saw weeks ago, I watched like half of it, because these videos can be pretty long and detailed. Hence the name iceberg, because, you know, this implies that what you know about the topic might be the tip of the iceberg, which is above water, and then everything underwater is like all of the freaking details. So the one I saw last week that I enjoyed tremendously was the space shuttle iceberg video. And that was interesting to me because it was like stuff I knew already, in addition to things I didn't know already, you know? So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And interestingly, my YouTube chat window is not showing the way I'm accustomed to seeing it. That's a little weird. Ah, there we go. Oh, what a glitchy mess right there. Oh boy. That was not my intent to make a glitchy mess right there. Oh, not sure how that happened. Well, I guess we'll just roll with it, you know? I mean, I don't know why my YouTube chat is all messed up. I think it's because I was trying to get Rumble chat to look good on my screen the other day. It was insane. So Rumble chat has like a white background, and YouTube chat usually has a white background unless you're looking at it in the YouTube studio. So, you know, it's like, okay, guess I'll have to mess with the white background, but it's much easier to do a color key and a chroma key with the you know, with the black background. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. So I think I just maybe deleted the wrong item, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna just copy pasta this out like that, and I think now we're good. Kind of. There's something. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully now when I cycle between different screens, I don't even know what comes. Oh, good. Okay, that's my fume extractor. Okay, good. Anyway, so let's get right on the topic now. Do we have a topic? Well, yeah, these iceberg videos are great. And if you want to see a good iceberg video, look up the space shuttle iceberg if you're like into that type of stuff. But today, we're going to go down a different rabbit hole. We're going to go to a YouTube channel named after the guy from the Marvel movies. His name is, what, Thor? You know, the Greek god, not Greek, Viking god. Ooh, that reminds me. I'm going to have to end the stream early. I need to watch Loki's Wednesday show before tomorrow because I heard it was a good episode. So anyway, there's this YouTuber comes up in my news feed. His name is John Thor, and he uses Neo from the Matrix, but clearly he believes the Earth is flat. Like that's his whole routine. That is his shtick. And you know, he's a nice enough guy in the comments. There was one video that got taken down of his that I didn't think should have been taken down, but of course he was speaking out about something that, well, I don't want to talk about that topic. I'm trying not to blackball my own stream, but flat Earth, that's relatively safe. Obviously, I'm in the camp of people who believe the Earth is round because it is round, but also because I can demonstrate that. I got evidence of that. I mean, I have to polar align my telescope, and no flat earther can explain why, you know, why you have to polar align a telescope on a flat earth. It just doesn't work. Like, I mean, and I'll be honest, it took me a month to understand polar alignment, and that's probably longer than it should have taken if I read the correct literature. But nonetheless, I mean, if it took me a month, it's no surprise a flat earth enthusiast might take a little bit longer to figure this out. And this isn't even the main topic, but first and foremost, for anybody watching right now, happy Thanksgiving, as it is 1 a.m. Eastern time, so it's already Thanksgiving for me over here. I am thankful for my turtles. You got Puffy and Squirtle in this frame right over here. And my tortoise named Londo, who is not in the frame right now, but I will give him some of my salad tomorrow. I will give him some fresh greens, okay? I will hook it up for my boy Londo, okay? But now, let's, shit, that's a 2-hour video. I'm not watching a 2-hour video. All right, we'll watch a couple of minutes of it, all right? How about that? We'll debunk some of their debunkings. How about that? Oh, okay, this is going to be a real fun one, isn't it? They're going to talk about that stuff where they say water always finds its level or something. It's like, it sounds good, doesn't really make sense. I mean, it might make intuitive sense if you don't know any better, I understand. But let's get our audio on.
Downward, an easily measurable 8 inches per mile.
Okay, so right over there. So this is like a common thing that you'll hear from flat earthers. They'll tell you that the 8 inches per mile formula is wrong because it's not the correct formula. I don't know where this figure came out. It's like, it's one of those things that if you don't know, you know, the formula or whatever, you'll just assume like, okay, well, it must be 8 inches per mile. If the flat earther arguing with me is telling me it's 8 inches per mile, they must have heard it from a legit source. But apparently, if you follow the mathematics on 8 inches per mile square, you get like a parabola. And I think that's what we're seeing in this picture here, maybe. I don't really know what they're trying to convey here. But I know 8 inches per mile square creates a parabola, not a circular, not a spherical, not a round anything. You know, it's not a circle, that's for sure. But let's just skip through and see now. I think I started watching this video last week back here. Oh, God. Okay, they're all over the place here.
Themselves to face the possibility.
Okay, so they played some philosophical thing, and okay, actually, you know, I'll hear this out. Okay, let's hear it out.
Though all evidence shows it, we feel no movement. The atmosphere.
So, okay, so right off the bat, they're saying that because you can make some rocks stand up on top of other rocks on a lake, and because the atmosphere is still, that the Earth must not be moving at all.
Hasn't been blown away. We see the sun move from east to west. Everything can be explained by a motionless Earth without bringing in all these assumptions to cover up previous assumptions gone bad.
It's kind of funny he uses that phrasing without using assumptions to explain previous assumptions gone bad, because that, in my observation, tends to be how flat Earth enthusiasts go. You know, they're usually making ad hoc explanations, but I mean, it's pretty simple. I'd say the easy way is look up a video of somebody riding a maglev train or even the bullet train in China or Japan. And at 200 miles an hour, once you accelerate at that speed, you can't really feel you're moving, you know? Like, unless you're looking out a window, you don't know or sense that you're moving. Your beverage doesn't move. It's not like the time I saw Super Mario in 4DX and my beverage was moving around, you know? It's more like relatively stationary. And that's because you're not going to feel movement, you're going to feel acceleration. Now, yeah, when you're in a car, if you were to accelerate to 20 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, and keep maintaining your speed, keep it at 50 miles per hour, I wouldn't tell you that you can't sense movement, because you're certainly going to sense movement in that situation, because, I mean, you got the rubber meeting the pavement. The pavement is not perfectly smooth. So, you know, really hard to judge that. But if you were on, like, say, a magnetic train with the, you know, magnetic levitation, there's no contact between you and a rail or you and the ground, or the rail is really smooth, you're only going to notice you're moving when you're picking up speed, when you're starting at 0 and you're going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, accelerating. And it's sort of like when you're in a car and you're accelerating and you get pulled to the back of your seat. You're going to feel that. But once you accelerate, you stop getting pulled to the back of your seat. If you maintain the same speed, you no longer feel that acceleration until you come to a rapid deceleration. You're slowing down. And so since the Earth orbiting the sun is neither accelerating or decelerating necessarily, at least not at a meaningful rate that you would notice, you're not going to see that movement. But let's talk about just the spinning of the planet, right? Because that's often a popular talking point where a flat earther will yell at you and say, oh, you believe in a spinning ball or something like that. And the thing about the spinning ball Earth, so to speak, is that the Earth is so obscenely large in the grand scheme of things, at least. I mean, I like to measure the speed, so people will argue, they'll say, oh, it's ridiculous, how could the Earth go 2,000 miles an hour without you feeling it? They'll argue something like that. And it's like, well, one, the Earth isn't necessarily going 2,000 or 3,000 miles an hour. It depends on where on the globe you are, right? So, if we do like, I just want to get a side view. So, even this is like wrong. I mean, it's not right or wrong. It's right depending on the part of the planet. But 1,000 miles per hour. And the problem with saying, you know, 1,000 miles an hour is that it would be more accurate to measure the speed. And I'm not trying, I'm just rather get a still picture, but whatever. Okay, this one's moving. Okay, so think of it this way. This is the polar region. This is the equator. This is another polar region. So obviously it can't be moving the same speed over here as it does over here. And as we get up here, it's moving slower. So let's just say this little ice cap here accounts for like 1,000 miles. So if it's going to move 1,000 miles per day as you get closer to the North Pole, then it's not 1,000 miles an hour. There's 24 hours in a day, so it'd be like 1,000 divided by 24. I'm not going to do the math on that. But at the equator, it's moving faster because basically you can't use miles per hour. I mean, you could, but you really shouldn't use miles per hour to talk about how fast the Earth is rotating. The proper unit of measure would be degrees per hour. And if you look at a clock, you have 12 hours. So a normal clock is going what? Is it 30 degrees? Is it 15 degrees an hour? Give me a second here. 30, 60... 30 times 10 is 300. Well, I know the Earth definitely goes 15 degrees an hour because 15 times 24 is 360. That much I'm certain about. And if we divide that by 2, you know, we get 180. And so a 12-hour clock is going to do that twice. It's going to go, you know, I guess, what is it like? I don't know why I have to do hard, simple division right now. Alright, my brain is kind of seizing up right now on the numerical part because 15 degrees an hour works really well when you're dealing with a 24-hour clock. And I've never seen a 24-hour clock in person, but they exist apparently. And I kind of grew fond of the 24-hour clock because when I'm looking at Polaris, the North Star, it kind of just works. So if I'm looking at my northern sky, Now, this particular central point would be at roughly a 41-degree latitude where I live in New York. And as you move your eyes away from this, you're going from the northern sky this way, you just got expanding circles. And you're not going to have this closed up again until you get to the South Pole, basically. So you're going to just see it getting wider, wider, wider. You're going to get to the South Pole, and it's going to close up again over there. And you would actually, if you were standing on the North Pole, this would be directly over your head at 90 degrees. So basically, the angle in the sky that you see this is going to match your latitude. Hey, what's up, Iceman? I don't know how I got down this rabbit hole. I had a choice between going down the 9/11 iceberg and flat Earth, and I decided to, like, fixate on this instead and to procrastinate on building my Gundam models. And so, obviously, we can only see this at nighttime, but if we pick this star trail right here, any star trail, whether it be here or here, it takes 24 hours for it to complete one circuit. But depending on the length of your night, let's say in the winter you have a 12-hour night. So you'll be able to watch it from here halfway over to halfway over. And then during the summer, you'll only be able to watch a shorter, track. But my point earlier was that the speed the Earth spins, miles per hour is not appropriate. Degrees per hour works better because degrees per hour allows you to take into account that if you're at the equator, you're going to be moving at a faster mile per hour speed than if you were at a smaller circular area near the polar circle, for example. And so now let's see, we got some questions from the chat right over here. And I hope I'm interpreting this correctly here. And the question is, what was the reason for Elon Musk rocket? I'm going to humbly ask you to be more specific. I mean, I'll answer it as it is. If you're not more specific, I will answer to the best of my ability. But I can't guarantee you're going to get a valid answer if I do. Because, I mean, there's so many, I mean, where do I begin? I mean, like, what was the reason for Elon Musk? Which rocket? Are we talking about Starship? The one that, like, blew up again? I mean, it got further this time. It did it. It flew longer, which was nice. I didn't even know the thing was flying until after it flew, but I gotta say, it did pretty well. It was a test flight, no surprise there. I think an interesting question would be is like, why do rockets do that? Because you get an argument from the flat Earth community, they'll ask, well, why is it doing this? And the reality is rockets don't necessarily fly straight up. I mean, if you're standing directly under a rocket, it looks like it's more or less going straight up, and they certainly do spend a lot of fuel gaining altitude. But at a certain point, when they get high enough up, they start focusing their flight on going this way. And as it turns out, if you're like, and what is all this lit up stuff over here? I guess it's a long exposure photograph, so any source of light creates more brightness. But if, I'm sorry, my brain got sidetracked here. So if you ever play any of the space simulation games or rocket simulation games, like KSP, Kerbal Space Program, you'll actually find that, in order to get into orbit, you got to do this. And I mean, if you really want, I'll play this stupid game right now. But I really don't want to play the game. It's too much big brain energy. In fact, I'm seriously thinking about jumping into playing Pilot Wings 64. And by Pilot Wings 64, I mean Pilot Wings 3DS. So the reason for the most recent rocket flight was to test out the Starship. And it's a terrible name for a rocket, by the way, because Starship would be more appropriate for, a ship that can go to different stars. Even in its final form, Starship is only going to be able to go to planets and the moon. It's going to be able to go from Earth to the moon, from Earth to Mars, and we see some revisions here. Let's see, April, September. Okay, so they're playing around with the, in fact, I don't see what they did here. Okay, they updated the bottom a bit. Okay. But yeah, this rocket here, like one thing that's interesting was if this flight recently happening, if this flight was a full success, they weren't going to test Mechazilla. So Mechazilla is exactly what you see here. So you'll notice that this launch tower here has like what they like to affectionately call the chopsticks. And this is freaking cool. So the idea is that normally the rocket, this black bit would be stacked on top of the booster and the booster would take it up to a certain height and up to a certain speed, and then it would detach, and then this booster would land, and I forget if the booster lands here or somewhere else, but ultimately when everything is said and done, I believe this booster is supposed to land. In fact, yes, okay, this part goes to space. This part here lands, because the idea is that normally with a rocket, you gotta ditch the booster. You run out of fuel, and you just dispose of it, basically. But Elon's method of changing the game, and I'm not saying he's the only genius behind it. He put a lot of engineers to work to get this done, okay? It's not just Elon, you know, it's like he hired the engineers, or he hired somebody who hired the engineers. Because I get this guy at work, and he's always bitching and moaning that Elon stole all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, what did he steal? Be specific. And it's like, you can't name anything. But like, even if he did, it's like, if it's, what do you call it? Poaching talent from Motorola? Well, if Motorola wasn't using their talent to build good, innovative satellites, and Elon wants to offer them a higher pay rate to do something cooler, that's their fucking right to take the job, you know? So I don't really see the issue there. If anything, I see the issue with Motorola not making good use of their talent or something. But anywho, the cool thing about this booster is, so like I said, this bit here, the black bit, is on top of the silver bit. And when this is up in orbit or space, this part lands. But the thing is, I think they had some concerns that this would be too heavy to land. They would either have to add some landing legs, which would increase the weight, or have to find a way to land the back without breaking it. So what they figured out, or decided to do, they didn't quite figure it out yet, was use these little chopsticks here to catch it. So the idea is that the booster has like some flaps sticking out the side to help it use drag to maneuver on its way down. So as the thing is falling down, it's going to have some, you know, rocket power pushing on it to kind of, you know, slow it down. But as it's coming down, before it hits the ground, Mechazilla is supposed to go cha and hold it like that, basically, which is like, even people who, like, you know, fully believe the Earth is round like I do, people who have no doubts about, you know, the space programs and stuff like that, even people like that have doubts that this will work. You know, and that's understandable. I mean, like, you know, let's see it to believe it, right? And so the thing was, when they launched the first Starship, or the last one that they did before this one, the big problem they had was the concrete was just getting broken up, because like when you launch a rocket like that, you're igniting, I think it's RP1, which is kerosene, or it's a highly refined form of kerosene, rocket fuel, and liquid hydrogen. You know what? Today's your lucky day, QEPX. You're becoming a mod. Please be good, and please don't, you know, be mean to people, okay? I mean, really, I'm putting a lot of trust in you tonight, okay? But you've earned it, because last time you showed up, you were not mean to anybody, and you did not beg to be moderated. So you are now a mod. All right? Please, please, please don't make me regret this, all right? Okay? I'm trusting you a lot. Just be cool like you are, and you know, that's all I ask, all right? So, welcome to the team, and only thing I ask of you is, on occasion, maybe post some hyperlinks, and I'll literally say, hey, bud, can you get some links? And if you ever want, I'll show you how to do that. But, yeah, I'll show you sometime. Basically, it's like, if I mention a channel of a friend, sometimes what we might do is go to their YouTube channel and get the link. So, for example, like, let's say, I say, oh, Chaos for You is in the chat, and we want to get his hyperlink. So, what we would do is we go to Chaos for You's channel, and we just copy his link from up here, or you go to the about section, or you go wherever you want. You can even take, like, if they're running a live stream, at the end of the stream, we can just say, oh, take that link and copy that one so that you can send people after the show. But, you know, once in a while, you know, it just never hurts. Like, if I know somebody's in the chat and they got a channel, one of the cool things about being a moderator at QEPX is when you're a moderator, you can click on a name and a button will pop up that says go to channel. So that makes it a little easier for you to go to their channel and get the link to their channel. So that would be like the only responsibility you have. You know, like I say, just don't ban people who don't deserve to be banned. But if somebody says, like, basically my main rule is if somebody says the N-word or Heil Hitler, those are the only two reasons why I want to ban people. Otherwise, I have a very free speech attitude. But like that said, I mean, you don't even have to share links. I'm just giving you an example. That's what I do when I'm a mod. Oh, don't worry about it. Okay, that's okay, QEPX. I understand. If you're on mobile, don't worry about it. I understand, bud. That's different. If you're on mobile, yeah, no, it's a little tricky. Like, I tend to go a little above and beyond when I'm moderating for people on mobile, but it's a pain in the ass. I get it. Trust me, I get it. It's cool. It's cool. If you happen to not be on mobile, great. If you're on mobile, then your only job is if somebody says like racist stuff, like if they start calling somebody the N-word, then yeah, I'll count on you to ban that person, block them, or time them out. But generally, you shouldn't have to do anything, right? But once in a while, even on mobile, you can click on somebody's name on mobile and it'll say go to channel. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. But once in a while, even on mobile. Yeah, so you just shared my own link, and that's cool too, you know, as an example that works. And obviously, we will need to share the link to my own stream, but yeah, you know, that's basically how that works. So you got it. So anyway, I appreciate your patience there. So we're going to just go back down a boring rabbit hole. I'll be honest, this is a relatively quick stream. I might play some Nintendo DS, 3DS. But we were talking about Mechazilla, and this is basically the mechanism that they're using over here to hydraulically lift the Starship on top of its rocket booster, which basically just carries a bunch of extra fuel to get it to a high altitude and up to a high speed. But the design calls for this bottom bit landing and being caught by these chopsticks. But the thing was, Elon and his company, they're not ready to do that, because like last time they launched one of these, they had a bunch of broken concrete being blown all over the place. It was a hot mess. Like, they could have caused some serious damage in the act. I mean, they didn't, but it could have been a disaster. And the other thing is, the last time they launched a rocket, if things went worse than they did, if the rocket went like up and went like this, boom, it could have killed a bunch of people. Now, I wasn't really concerned about that, but it happened to the Chinese. The Chinese, there's actually a video of a Chinese rocket crashing. In fact, we're going to find that video because that's a cool video. Chinese rocket crashing into village. Yeah, oh God, I think this is it right here. Oh God.
This rocket.
Okay, so I got this from some other channel. So take note of the channel name. One Piece. Oh, I know about that. So this rocket here, I guess we better let the audio places.
However, it will never make it to orbit. In fact, it won't make it much further than a few 100 feet above the ground.
So this is
as soon
fucked
as
up.
this rocket takes off, it veers off course and travels horizontally, crashing just 20 seconds later into an inhabited area.
I think like 600 people die from that. Maybe. That's an interesting point.
That wasn't
Iceman.
the end of the story, though. Strangely, an investigation would cause international controversy.
Oh shit, Iceman, you might be right.
Not due to any shocking revelations, the investigation itself broke defense and military regulations, despite the fact the launch was a commercial venture. Unfortunately, that isn't the only example of shady dealings that surrounds this disaster.
Well, I mean, doesn't shadiness and China go hand in hand?
Long March series of
Okay, first of all, I love the name Long March Rocket. Like, it just sounds like Baton Death March. I don't know if that's like appropriate for me to think like that, but I swear, I hear Long March and I'm hearing like Death March, you know? Yeah, QEPX is our international representation for this channel, and it is an honor to have his company. So, yeah, I mean, like,
expendable launch system rockets.
It is an expendable rocket.
In 1996, were ready to launch the first Long March 3B.
Alright, I'll play that in a moment.
Intelsat 708, a telecommunications satellite built by American company Space Systems.
Huh? An American satellite launching on a Chinese rocket? I guess, okay, a little, I mean, I guess maybe they got a better deal on the cost or something, I mean. Oh shit, Brandon the anime guy's on. I'm ending my stream. Peace. No, I'm kidding.
Let the bug have
it. That's sick. Alright, I'll come back to him in a little while, but that's fucking cool.
Oh my
Okay, this we don't want to do right now. Oh, that's a good guy though. I'm sorry, my brain's... Okay, we're gonna go back to, oh shit, Lofty Pixels is on too. He's a nice guy. Okay, I'm sorry. My brain, I got ADD here, obviously. I lost the fucking tab I was looking at. I think I opened up the One Piece thing and lost it. Wait, here it is. Okay.
I
got you, QEPX. I'll play that.
Satellite services provider Intelsat. Satellite technology was protected by ITAR, International Traffic in Arms Regulations. These are a set of regulations in place in the United States to control the export of defense technologies to prevent them.
Oh God, what if this was a three-letter agency operation?
From falling into the hands of adversaries. Launch vehicles, guidance systems, and satellite components were all controlled by ITAR.
Why is this guy blurry?
As such, Space Systems Loral had to receive licenses from the US Department of State to launch Intelsat satellites on Chinese rockets. Intelsat 708 would be launched aboard a Long March 3B rocket from Xichang Satellite Launch Center in China. Near the gates to the center, about 3 miles from the launch pad, sits a residential complex intended to house employees,
It's a terrible
as
idea.
well as a hotel to accommodate foreign workers, such as the Space Systems Loral employees who will be involved with the Intelsat 708 inside the launch center, thus clearing the employee accommodations. As they passed through the main gate, they noticed a lot of locals had gathered there, presumably to watch the launch. There were dozens, maybe hundreds of them. At 3 a.m, Intelsat 708 took off and immediately swerved off course, sending the 400-ton rocket down the valley and towards the main gate from which the workers had just come. In about 20 seconds, it crashed into a hillside. With most of its propellant still on board, the vehicle erupts in a massive explosion.
Yeah.
Witnesses recall that
would
the
do
3
that.
a.m. hillside momentarily resembled day as the explosion
That
lit up the valley.
would happen.
The order for workers to leave the residential area had likely saved their lives, as it was now all destroyed.
Oh, that's good.
Some buildings entirely flattened by the rocket that had crashed just 200 feet away. Officially, the Chinese state media claimed the incident killed 6 people and injured 57. Supposedly, the crowds of villagers gathered at the gates for the launch had been evacuated in the time between the workers' entry trucks hauling history. The relevant space launch insurance companies insisted on an independent review. May have been correct. It pointed out that there were 2 other potential points of failure and suggested tests be performed to prove or disprove each component as the issue. Following this review, the Chinese identified the problem was one of the committee's suggestions rather than their original rocket, and this finding helped the Chinese. It was the 3rd launch failure in 38 months involving a Long March rocket, and this finding helped the Chinese improve the reliability of the Long March committee suggestions rather than. This was the 3rd line in their development of guidance systems technologies and because of export control regulations. Space Systems Loral paid $20 million in fines and compliance expenses. There is another small twist to the tale. The disputed figure of 6 fatalities and whether or not there was a cover-up of death on a much larger scale
Oh yeah.
is debatable. However, Western engineers noticed a disturbing detail on return visits to Xichang Satellite Launch Center. The workers' accommodations have been repaired, renovated, reconstructed, but the neighbouring village is gone. There is no memorial in its place, and no mention in the media of what happened to it. It simply disappeared.
I think I got an
The
answer.
villagers the workers had seen gathered at the gates. By the time they came back, they were gone. Vanished. Erased, perhaps.
They probably moved to a different place, but that is suspicious. Like, you know, was it like some eminent domain thing where people didn't want to move, but they were like, move. So they said, okay, we'll just crash the rocket into your village so we can clear the land. Well, anyway, let's move forward because, you know, QEPX gave me a link here. Is this the right link? I think it's the right link. I'll click on it again. Yeah, it's the right link. All right, let's see what we got here. I don't know what I'm watching. I hope I don't get in trouble for reuse of content. I've never watched One Piece, so this will be my first time watching any One Piece at all. I swear, if I get like a copyright flag on my top screen, I'm ending this, but only because I gotta, you know, do the same thing I would do with my own video if I was playing a video. Oh, it's a... Oh, God. Okay.
cousin K-Roll, he's a rider now. What they want from
I hope the music doesn't get me flagged.
Love niggas, now I plug niggas. It's love niggas and my wrong niggas making songs trying to get with us. Must be
I really should make a habit of playing people's music videos.
Then we ride to the sun come shining back to brighten up the sky.
But I want to see what One Piece looks like.
Look, bitch, I cut your face. This ain't no motherfucking movie. Then we watch the other two die slow. Castrated and entertaining at my motherfucking.
He reminds me of the guy from the Fist of the North Star. Oh god, okay, yeah, we got a copyright warning. Let's see here. So this is the hazard of playing music videos on YouTube. I'll show you right here. So up here it'll say, okay, actually that's my bad. That's my bad. It says, we've detected the video in your stream belonging to somebody else. That could be because it is somebody else's YouTube video. So we can work around that. I can work around that. We'll just X that out. It says good. We'll go back to the screen, but we'll play it back in small. And we'll see how long the video plays. But actually, wait, I do have a solution for this. Hang on, I have a solution. There we go. Now we can play the video, hopefully, right? I thought One Piece was about pirates. This is One Piece, right? It's not Naruto, is it? Or Boruto, now that he's got a son named Boruto. But I'll be honest, if it's a 23-minute music video, hold, okay, it's something I knew about One Piece before getting into it. Episode 851. That's dedication right there. A show with 851 episodes. Holy cow. Holy mother. And I'm sorry. So what I'm doing here is I'm seeing videos in the list right here. Like that I'm adding to my playlist. Oh no, the sound isn't the issue. Yo, you know it's funny? Yo, QEPX, the sound isn't the issue. It's the video that was the issue. So I thought it was the audio too, but it's not. I thought it was the sound, but it's not the sound. I know what to do. I got this. I got an idea. Alright, hang with me. Oops. There we go. I'm gonna try a little something here. Yeah, so I'm surprised the music isn't getting me flagged. I fully thought the music was gonna be where it was gonna happen, you know? I want to see how this 3DS looks on here.
And even if I do conceal my criminal thoughts, preoccupied with keeping still, see niggas is false. Sitting in court, turn stitches they used to be.
So I'm gonna put the video back. I just wanna.
They sending armies out to bomb me, listen to Ron. The only DJ that can calm me, constantly on. My firepower keep me warm. I'm trapped in the storm. And fuck the world till I'm gone. Bitches be born. Word is born, you'll get torn. I'm busting on Giuliani.
Don't expect me to make a habit of taking video requests, but I'll do it today in honor of your inaugural day as a moderator. Katakuri uses dough fruit.
Legendary live eternally, bitch made
So it's a lot of fighting. It's a lot of Dragon Ball Z action going on here. That's an elephant gun. And I see just counting the episodes, like episode 854. He's working his way up right there. I don't know if this is my cup of tea, but the main reason why I haven't even tried One Piece is when I found out it had like 1,000 episodes. That's like the only reason. So in the meantime, let's fire up Pilot Wings here. So yeah, I'm a black man named Michael because I bought this 3DS from my friend Mike, and I never updated the me profile. Let's see if we can get the camera settings adjusted a little bit. Alright. I just had a brainstorm of an idea. Alright, so I got Pilot Wings I wanted to play today, so I'm going to play this out and see how far we get. So, how do I do this? So, I'm going to play as my friend Michael here. I got up to Platinum level, but things get a little tough at Platinum level here. It's a long video there. It's going to tire me out. Nah, but jokes aside, it's kind of give me a taste of what the show is about. Okay, so as you can see here, I only got zero stars. So let's see if I can get further here. Oh! Word. Oh, did you get what you wanted? But you want to show the video, so I want to make sure you get to see it. But yeah, so I mean, that's One Piece right there. I'm going to add that to my playlist. Maybe I'll play it later on. Or something. Excuse me. So, I figure like, that is the video I play for your inaugural moderation. So now, this is a little challenging here to play 3DS like this, but we're going to try. So this one's a weird challenge. You're supposed to shoot the balloons. That was hard. That was difficult, man. That was bloody difficult. This seems like Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong Racing? Pilot Wing 64? I keep saying 64. One of these days we'll play Pilot Wing 64 on stream. The only reason I'm not going to do it right now is because it's not as convenient for me to play Pilot Wing 64. Because I have to switch my HDMI dongle to do that. Yeah, so I inducted QEPX as a mod because last time I had a stream, QEPX did not ask to be a mod. And I said, you know what? That's all it takes. I'm like, I'm a happy camper. Seems like a nice enough fella. Let's do this. So anyway, let's see what other mission we got. I could be down for the count sooner than I planned on. So a hang gliding is interesting. Yeah, I'm an African American dude. Oh, he's from, I think he's West Indian technically, but my friend Mike, and yeah, I'm him. I'm him in this game. So we want to do a hang glider or rockets? Let's try rockets. Actually, no, this was a pain in the butt. Let's do it in 3D. No, I'm kidding. We're not doing that in 3D. So the trick is you got to hit the speed limit indicated on those little red things. And if you don't hit the speed limit, they say they don't break. So I gotten pretty good at it at this point. Obviously, if you go up in altitude without hitting a thermal current, you lose speed. So that's a thermal current. It basically gives you extra altitude. These are real too. They exist in real life. Alright, so now this is gonna be hard. Because there's a fucking palm tree. Well, this has moderately high graphics, so I'll admit that the graphics aren't great here. Oh my god. I got a strong case of the yawns just now. Excuse me. You got little mines in the sky. Ow. Well, maybe next time I stream a game, I'll play some Call of Duty. What the hell? I got the strong yawns oversized. Shit. Alright. Maybe I need some cool air. So I trust you're having a good day, Mr. Padawannabe. You know what's crazy? They don't have Pod Racer for 3DS. I looked into it. I was like... Yeah, so Call of Duty Infinite Warfare I was playing somewhat recently. Oh my god, that sucks! See right there, I didn't hit that with enough speed, so I didn't actually clear it. The N64 version has a replica of New York that's pretty nice. See, it's warning me my speed is slow. I sometimes think about getting into Minecraft. Roblox, I'll look into it. I'll do that. I'll look into Roblox, see if I like what I see. But you're more likely... Oh my god, it sucks. Because I'm in a hang glider. And I can't be... Wait, they're letting me stand? Oh, okay. I'm in a hang glider, so if I miss one of those spinning rings, I can't redo it. Oh! Graphics isn't a real issue for me. Blowing my nose is. There we go. I can blow my nose. I can pick my nose. Nobody can see me. But yeah, QEPX likes Roblox. Rob likes Roblox. I like Space Engineers, and maybe I'll revisit that soon. The Padawannabe says, graphics aren't the real issue for me. Only with some early 3D games. I've played a game to completion. If I've played a game to completion, then it's tough to pick back up. I usually go for everything. I got you. Yeah, you played something good enough at least once. So at this point, I'm not going to get any achievements here, but I'll survive. See, I'm bumping into shit. It's a miracle I'm not crashing. So now it's going to be time to land soon, which is good because I'm going pretty slow already. Oh, too late. I'm dead. We're missing the dock. That was a rough landing, but I landed in the center. See, the N64 version of this has a helicopter called a gyrocopter. That's pretty fun. I don't have any busy games, although I do like the open options in games like GTA, Red Dead, and Borderlands. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, I definitely, one thing that I liked about GTA 3 when it came out was that it was an open, setup, and that if nothing else, you could sort of explore and move around and stuff and just play around and play with the physics of the road and whatnot. Okay, I got 1 star. Really, you need like 2 stars on everything, I think, in order to like win, but that's a subjective measure. Now, this one was hard. This is really hard. So you gotta conserve your fuel. So I'll usually run the rocket slow. So that was easy, right? Well, watch, it's gonna get harder. So you land on these targets and you get more fuel. Then when you fly, you gotta fly into these balls, but to do that is super difficult. See, like, they're constantly dodging you. And you have limited fuel. How hard is that shit? I don't want to be a quitter. Actually, I do want to be a quitter. I'm going to be a quitter on that one. Now, what's this one here? I've never played... Oh, whoa, this is different. Let's try this out just by virtue of it being different. Take the Super Rocket Belt. Okay, I've never flown the Super Rocket Belt. For challenging a high spin high above Woohoo Island. I don't know if I'm supposed to be going this high up. Well, I've already gone like as high as anyone's ever been. Yo, what up, Darren Wagner? Thanks for dropping by. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I was all over the place earlier in today's stream. Alright, so we're going to try using minimal thrust in the Super Rocket Belt. And they say take it high above the island, but so far it looks like they want me to stay in a low altitude. Okay, I see what we gotta do. So we got plenty of surplus fuel. That's good. I only got 10 points instead of 15. I gotta be careful on how I land that. Now it's telling me to go up. Now it's going to tell me to go into that target. Now, even though this game isn't necessarily designed open world per se, if you sacrifice your mission goals or you go into free flight mode, you can get all around pretty well in this game and explore some Easter eggs. And that was what made the N64 Pilot Wings cool, was the amount of weird Easter eggs into that game. Like going inside the Statue of Liberty, or getting burnt to a toast when you land on top of the nuclear power plant's cooling tower. Or how, if you go to Manhattan, New York City, in Pilot Wing 64, there was like this one building that you can go inside of. And if you go inside this building, all it had was like a corner. You know, it wasn't anything special, but it had like an N64 logo painted on the wall. And then other than that, if you knew how to drive the helicopter correctly, you could drive it on the road like it was a car. And that's sort of like when the game got boring, that made it sort of interesting to be able to take the helicopter on the road like you were driving a car, because it made the map look larger. And at the same time it did that, it like it allowed you to access refueling. So one of the things in Pilot Wing 64 was there were no cheats, but there was a gas station. If you land the helicopter or the rocket inside the gas station, oh, there's a window over here, and you land in the gas station, you automatically get your fuel 100% refueled. So that was kind of cool. All right, QEPX, thanks for hanging out, man. You have a good night. So I did initially start this stream by going down some rabbit holes, okay? I went down some, like, space program rabbit holes. I went, oh, let's get this background out. It looks ugly. It looks fugly. No, I'm kidding, but there we go. But yeah, you know, I was, like, going down some, like, flat earth stuff, and I was, like, I kind of, like, when QEPX dropped in, I know he gets bored easily if it's something, like, dumb. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. And in this case, what it was, where the hell did I put it? I think I misplaced it. Oh yeah, this fucking bullshit. So it's like, okay, let's get those little graphics off the screen. So those hexagons are there when I want to show copyright content. And basically this mofo, he'd be like, this is proof the earth is flat. So they like to take the X-Files logo, combine it with the History Channel, and be like, it's a hoax.
200 proofs Earth is not a spinning ball.
Oh, I know it's not a spinning ball, but let's keep going.
By Eric Dubé.
I know it's a spheroid.
1.
That
the horizon always
rotates.
appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude.
That is not true, but I can see why they think that. Now, one of the interesting things was in a couple of flat Earth videos, they show you like video footage from like a balloon, a high altitude balloon, and they basically, you could tell they're using either like, they're using a lens basically, like how do I phrase it? So, okay, here's the trick. If you ever take a camera and, you know, it looks flat in the middle, but then you bring the horizon down lower, let's say like below the halfway point, and it makes a curve. I think what happens is it'll make a curve like this, like, you know, where the middle is higher than the side, if it's lower. But then if you bring the horizon up here, if it makes a negative curve, then you know it's the lens. Because that's the thing. First thing you got to rule out when you do see curvature in a photo, is this the lens or is it the shape of the Earth? And this applies to the windows inside an airplane, but unfortunately they tend to cherry pick the evidence that they tend to favor. So we're going to move past this point very quickly.
All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage.
Amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage. It's like, okay, drones aren't really going to go that high. Rocketry does a little bit better, but amateur rockets don't really hold their trajectory very well. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, you literally, last I checked, they might have changed the laws or something, but last I checked, you're not even allowed to have a guidance system on a amateur rocket because it becomes a ballistic missile if you do. So, you know, that's a little issue there, unfortunately. Although I've seen people build guidance systems for rockets, although I think it's okay to build the guidance system, it's not okay to launch it, if that makes any sense.
Show a completely flat horizon, over 20 plus miles high. Supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes.
I mean, you know, you never see much in this video. You see the entirety of the cargo ship. I don't really know what this is supposed to illustrate, but it convinces a lot of people. And I think I just lost my viewers. Okay, this is a great example. Because this, you could literally see the middle is lower than the side. So I'm not going to say if that's the camera lens or the window on the plane, but maybe they'll explain.
12. The Manchester Ship Canal Company, published in the Earth Review, stated, "It is customary in railway and canal constructions for all levels to be referred to a datum which is nominally horizontal and is so shown on all sections."
Okay, yeah, so...
It is not in the practice in laying out public works to make allowances for the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, so, wait, what? I mean, you know, okay, they quote a document. Show me the document.
13. In a 19th century French experiment by MMBO and Arago.
I'm sorry, he's at 19th century French experiment. All right, let's hear him out.
A powerful lamp with good reflectors was placed on the summit of Deserto del Palmas in Spain, and able to be seen all the way from Campri on the island of Ibiza.
Okay.
Since the elevation of the 2 points were identical, and the distance between covered nearly 100 miles, if Earth were a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, the light should have been more than 6,600 feet, a mile
Okay, so the problem is... Wait,
and a quarter below the
6,600... Wait, hold on. Did he just do 666? That's not what I was planning on hearing. But...
line of sight. More than 6,600 feet.
Okay,
a mile and a quarter
6,600.
below the line of sight.
So good news is there's actually a valid answer to this. If we're going to take it all at face value, what the guy said, and I do take these things with a grain of salt, then we can still take refraction into account as to why you might see that bright light from over the horizon. That's if we take the figures into account, because unfortunately earlier in this video they do reference the formula, the wrong formula for the curvature of the Earth as 8.5 feet per mile square or something like that. And so the idea is that for every mile or something like that, you get 8 feet of dip, so to speak. And I'm definitely misquoting it, but if you take the actual formula, whatever it is, it contains a square. It's like 8 feet per mile square, some shit like that. You don't get a ball or a circular curve. You get a parabola. You get like an actual parabola. And so they're acting like this is like some mainstream, number. It's not even a mainstream number, but somehow it became a number that got very popular amongst flat Earth circles. And even worse off is a lot of people who don't know any better, who don't believe the Earth is flat. They think it's round, but they get into arguments with flat earthers. They also have a tendency to quote that figure, unfortunately. But because of that figure, I'm not sure if I'm sold on, anything the guy says here. But, I'm willing to take this one at face value because I can still take refraction into account on the surface. On the surface, that's
14.
funny.
The Lieutenant Colonel Portlock experiment used oxyhydrogen Drummond's lights and heliostats to reflect the sun's rays across stations set up across 108
Are we talking about another 18th century, 19th century experiment? I swear I'm going to skip
miles of
those.
St. George's Channel. If the Earth were actually a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, Portlock's light should have remained hidden under 1.5 miles of curvature.
Once again, we're talking like 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles. Maybe if they gave me some larger figures, I might be a little more open here.
First filling a telescope with water to slow down the speed of light inside, then calculating the tilt necessary to get the starlight directly down the tube, Airy failed to prove the heliocentric theory, since the starlight was already coming in the correct angle, with no change necessary, and instead proved the geocentric model correct.
Alright, that's a big problem right there, because you'll often hear when you get into arguments with a flat earth enthusiast, they'll use terms like geocentric, heliocentric, and, well, that's a fun one right there. Let's go have some fun here. Not really fun, but, you know, we're going to do, let's see here, what do we call it? Types of heliocentrism. So, as it turns out, there's not just one version of heliocentrism. As I understand, there was like the, well, let's see, Kepler, Copernicus. Oh, I got you here. Copernican heliocentrism. And there's another one. I had these written down a while ago, but there's the Copernican, there's the Keplerian. Here we go. Keplerian Kepler, which apparently I think it is the main one we use today. So I think it's like Kepler's version of heliocentrism is heliocentrism, like as we know it today. And I think when flat earthers even take this one into account, they don't realize that they assume that this heliocentrism doesn't take into account the rest of space, so it must be wrong. I forget what their point is actually, but let's go and look at Copernicus model, because I think that one's a little more illustrative of the form that they argue of. So, okay, it looks similar to what we know. You know, you got Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth. I guess that's Earth. It says a bunch of shit over here. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, some shit over here I can't read in Latin. Copernican heliocentrism is the astronomical model developed by Nicolaus Copernicus and published in 1543. Okay, so I just made fun of these flat earthers for like referencing 19th century stuff. I might, you know, have to joke on me right now for referencing stuff from the 14th century or 16th century, but let's keep going. This model positioned the sun at the center of the... Okay, so this is why Copernican heliocentrism doesn't work, because the sun is not at the center of the universe. We know this now. We figured this out a while ago. And so when you get into arguments with flat earthers, they'll still shit on heliocentrism. They'll shit on this version of heliocentrism. And if you do call into the topic the modernized version, the Kepler version, the Keplerian one, the version of heliocentrism that we understand now, they'll just tell you that you're some asshole for trusting NASA and reading lies on Wikipedia or something like this. But, I mean, this is pretty thoroughly published. You don't have to look at Wikipedia to get some of this. It's just that this one's one of the harder ones to fudge. But let's see if I can comprehend anything I'm looking at. Unfortunately, this is an awfully low-res image right here. But I think what it's doing is it's trying to account for maybe rotation and orbit. Is it accounting for the seasons here? I don't know, but it's got a bunch of astrology bullshit in here. You can definitely see the fucking crab. You can see the fucking octopus. You know, you can see all of the astrological crap here. So, I mean, this would not be the, you know, the map of the cosmos that I would personally be inclined to rely on. But, you know, it's there. Ancient and medieval astronomy. While the sphericity of the Earth was widely recognized by Greco-Roman astronomy from at least the 4th century BC, the Earth's daily rotation and yearly orbit around the Sun was never universally accepted until the Copernican revolution. And so this is important because, you know, like, we didn't even, like, you know, this model was, what you call it, superseded by the Kepler model, basically, in so many words. And so, yeah, you got to be careful when you get into arguments with a flat earther. If they think that, you know, they shit on heliocentrism and they say it's been disproven, you got to ask them to be specific. And a while back, I did, like, make this, like, long-winded comment where I was like, I named 3 versions of heliocentrism. I'm like, so which one you talking about? And I named all 3 of them, and they didn't really give me an answer that required any effort. But let's keep going. We'll keep going. You know, just let's have fun here. So I don't know what this Airy telescope experiment was, but okay. Actually, it's funny. There is a guy I watch on YouTube, and he does some cool experiments. So what he does is he takes water, he puts it in a fish tank, right? And he'll put water of varying temperatures into the fish tank, and he'll shoot a laser through it to show you like how the light bends in different ways depending on the temperature of the water. And his goal in these videos is to sort of simulate how temperature gradients have a differing effect on how light bends or how refraction happens. And in one of these experiments, I wish I could remember the channel name right now, because once in a while he comes up in my news feed, my notifications, and I bookmark his videos. I just can't remember the name right now, but essentially he did one experiment where he had like water inside a fish tank of differing temperatures, and he used it to be able to see over a horizon or some shit like that. I forgot exactly how he did it, but he did a cool little trick. In subsequent videos, he used a surveying instrument. I think he used a theodolite. So theodolite is, it's used for two purposes. It's used on a tripod to measure buildings, basically to get the leveling right. But also it was used in the Royal Navy for navigation. So during the doomed Franklin expedition, they used something similar to this. And I wonder if I can find a full-scale replica of one. Yeah, I would love to find a picture of an old theodolite. But essentially, you can measure your terrain, basically. And that's another thing you'll get into arguments with the Flat Earth community about. They have trouble drawing a distinction between terrain and, what's the phrase here? Not curvature. You got elevation and curvature. So they tend to conflate the two together. And it's super convenient to do that when you don't believe the Earth is round and you're trying to use it to prove your point. But there is a distinction to be made between those two things. I mean, a mountain sits on the curvature of the Earth. A mountain being big enough, yeah, you have to account for the curvature of the Earth when measuring that mountain. But generally speaking, within most distances, on a smaller scale, it's not that big of an issue. But anyway, now I'm talking out of my ass, so I'm not going to pretend to know more. But let's see. Let's keep going. In fact, let's go and take a look at another video here. It's oh God, it's an hour long too. So either I got to deal with a 2 hour, 40-minute video. Maybe I should just do my point by point. Oh, this lady's dumb. Let's watch her. No, she's really dumb. She's very dumb.
If they start to go traveling, they would not be allowed to do that.
Oh yeah, so this is their new Flat Earth model. So one of the other challenges with Flat Earth, this is why I paused this video last week here, is that they don't really have a working model. So if we had a model of Flat Earth, there's a few variations, but different people make their own attempts. Okay, so this is a guy who's a big Flat Earth guy or whatever. And generally they say that, Antarctica is this ice wall, whatever. Now, one problem with the, with any Flat Earth map, any of them, let's just pick one with a nice high-res picture, is that if I'm standing here in South Africa, you're standing here in Argentina, and someone else is standing here, I don't know, whatever fucking place this is, Philippines or some shit, or Australia. We'll be able to see the same constellations at the same time, and that really wouldn't work if one guy was all the way over in Australia and another guy's all the way on the other side, supposedly here. We shouldn't be able to see the same constellations over the South Pole. So there's some weird caveats about how that works. And I wish I could find that picture. I really didn't. I wasn't planning on going into deep diving into Flat Earth today. It just kind of happened, But you get some interesting models. This one's kind of interesting because now it's like a slab of rock. I don't know if this is actually a valid model. This could just be one of the old drawings that, gets popularized because it looks so interesting. It does. It looks interesting. I'll admit that, obviously, what is happening here, right? It's I don't even, it's just not corroborated it. It's an interesting one, though. It looks kind of cool. Huh. Oldest known world map, supposedly. That's interesting. Possible rendering of Alexander's map. It's a weird map. You got Italy there, though. Not a lot of ocean there. Let's go back to that lady.
But you would.
So no.
But yeah, basically one of the more popular apps you could download that explains the flat Earth had a disc shape. Unfortunately, the distances didn't really pan out. Now, this one, it looks like they're trying to explain seasons and all of that stuff. So you can see it's got March, February, March, April, May, June, July. It's doing this weird figure eight: September, October, November, December, January, etc.
Nobody
You
goes
take
there.
Dave Martin at his word that he went to Antarctica?
He probably went to the portion of Antarctica that people are allowed to travel to on their little penguin tour. So they say, "Hey, look, it's a but it's not a continent. It's not a continent." So so there's an entire ice wall that's been filmed. People have filmed that again.
People have filmed the ice wall. Yes, there was an area that you could film. That's like an ice, ice sheet coming apart. It looks like a wall, but then you should be able to go around the entire disk of it and prove that. Show me the ice wall all around. Hike the whole thing. And I'll admit, it is challenging to get a waste permit and permission from the State Department and whatever international agency. It is difficult to get a proper permit to go to Antarctica. I'm not going to pretend that it's like easy to do. But I mean, a big part of it is it is heavily inhospitable, and I don't think anybody's granting permits to anybody on the sheer virtue of, like if they're not prepared, I mean, I don't know if you have to prove you're ready, but last thing you want is a bunch of people freezing to death because the various governments gave permission to go. But if somebody could prove they got their stuff together and they made a genuine effort, I would think they can go there. I do see people on the Globe camp who sometimes might be a little disingenuous because they'll point out that, all you need to do is get this permit from this agency. And it's like, yes, that's true, but let's be realistic here. Some jackass who thinks the Earth is flat is probably going to be less likely to get that permit. So, I mean, if anything, if we really want to, maybe we should try to help them get a permit. I don't know how you help flat Earth enthusiasts get a permit, but maybe we help them. We educate them on getting good socks or something, and then they go through the process and get their permit and go on their expedition. Now, the reality is you can bring a flat earther to space, and if they're firmly in the camp that the Earth is flat, a lot of them will, buy another assumption and say, it's a hologram or something like that, But usually I have an easier time disarming individual talking points. Like that time, some guy got into an argument about the Rocinante from The Expanse. That was an interesting experience.
Evidence is there. So the model is basically
he visited part
land.
of the rim. He visited part of the rim.
Anybody can look up ball Earth, and it's every single one is CGI or composites. And even
that I can actually demonstrate how that works. So that one, I'm definitely especially qualified to explain, when there's a composite, why it's a composite, because when I do astrophotography, I'm very reliant on imaging filters. And I think there's actually, let me see here, we got the Earth Polychromatic Imager. So let's see, we got like this optical instrument here, which is basically a Schmidt Cassegrain telescope. And what it is, it's got a black and white camera inside with a color filter wheel. And essentially you use these different filters in order to get the red, blue, and green in separate passes before combining them as a composite. And you'll end up with a picture like this one right here, for example. But when the flat earthers see the version of that picture where the moon is flying in front of the Earth, they, immediately get incredulous as F, right? They get super incredulous. So in this picture here, in this video sequence here from that camera I just showed, people say it looks fake as fuck. My coworker said it looked obviously fake. And yeah, it looks like, you know, really blurry. But you know what? This camera is designed to take pictures of the Earth. And I say the Earth looks really good from this camera. The moon looks blurry because it should look blurry. The camera is not supposed to take pictures of the moon. It just happened to get photobombed in this particular sequence of frames. And in fact, just to get one color image, each picture is taken 30 seconds apart using a different color filter. And I'm glad they zoomed in on this picture because now you can see a little color fringing here. You can see the yellow, a little bit of red on the edge there. And that is further evidence that a filter wheel was used to take the different colors in separate passes 30 seconds apart. And since the camera and the instrument is not really designed to image the moon, you're going to see color fringing on the edge of the moon as opposed to seeing it on the Earth itself. And that very color fringing we're seeing in various places is why we also have a blurry image on the whole. And you know, if the goal was to fake it, then wouldn't there be a better effort to, you know, make a clearer fake Earth and a clearer fake moon? Although I gotta say, the Earth itself looks amazing in this video. And if they were gonna do a half-assed job of putting the moon in front of the Earth, I imagine then they would do a better job. And that is one of the reasons why I'm sold that it's quite real, the imagery we're looking at here. Let's see if we can get a closer picture of that moon. Palmer, I want that one close picture. I think I'll wrap up very soon. Hope I wasn't too boring tonight. I know sometimes it could be hit or miss. Alright, so unfortunately this image is blurry, so we don't see much, but we do see a little bit of green. We see a little bit of red, although I'm not going to say that's definitive there. Wow, that's an ugly image right there. I hope that was done better. I'm gonna find one good picture of this before I call it a night. There we go. Beautiful. It's pretty decent. So yeah, I mean, we got a little bit of red color fringing. Once again, we got a little bit of red, green, and a little purple or violet going on there, which is probably from the blue filter wheel. But you even have some color fringing on the Earth itself, which I mean makes sense because we're looking at the far, you know, edge over here. But the central area that's in focus, I think it looks pretty damn good. Especially if we go to one-to-one zoom. I mean, that looks as crisp as it can be. So anyway, I think we jumped all over the place enough tonight. What I'm going to do after I get off stream is do some work on my Zaku. And actually, the Z-Gok, it's a mobile suit from Gundam. And essentially what we do is we have to put some arms on. So, you know, this is the front of the mech. I actually painted that. And you put this on, you actually have to put some armor over here, but does that look like a little dong? It looks like a little dong. My coworker noticed it. I had this standing on my desk. And he's like, that looks like a dick. I'm like, oh shit, it does. But yeah, I actually used a metallic Gundam marker to do this door, and I put a clear coat on it too to protect it. So that's pretty sweet. And in this part, I sanded it. It got rough, and then I used a multi-thousand grit sandpaper to bring the shininess back. And I just got a set of more good sandpaper because I bought only up to 1,000 grit. So I bought low grit to high grit sandpaper, which is smoother. This one goes up to like 8,000 grit now. So basically the set I bought came with a Japanese wrapper. You know it's good stuff when it's written in Japanese. At least I think it's good stuff when it's got Japanese written all over it. So I think this is going to really help me out in my model making endeavors. But anyway, with that being said, wish I had more things interesting to share, perhaps after Thanksgiving, maybe even tomorrow night, or definitely Friday. We'll have something to do. Maybe we'll play some N64 or something like that. But I want to thank QEPX, Darren Wagner, the Padawannabe, and anyone else who showed up tonight, including the Iceman. You guys were all wonderful. Thanks for showing up and hanging with me for the time. And I hope everybody watching earlier today And everybody who's potentially watching on the replay, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. And with that being said, we shall